Welcome to the Jazz Flyte Podcast. I'm your host, Darrell Scott, and together we will dive into the lives and careers of the jazz legends who have left a rhythmic imprint on the world. Be prepared to reminisce on the highs and the lows of their musical journey and the trials that sculpted their timeless musical gems. We'll preserve the legacy of these extraordinary maestros and find inspiration in the melodies of their lives. Subscribe now and never miss a beat. Now, let's get to the show. This is the Jazz Flyte Podcast. You know, we've done a couple of I'll call them unusual, different shows. We had Pamela Williams and her daughter Day Sky on for our Mother's Day show. We had Nathan East and his son Noah East for Father's Day show. And all of a sudden I found this couple, this husband and wife. Ladies and gentlemen, Adam and Kat Hawley. How are you today?
Hi.
Fantastic. How are you doing?
I am fine. So, you know, you have all these questions and actually I came up with another question that I'll say for later on. How did this couple, this musical group get together? How did we start this?
Wow, how did we start this?
Well, we met in church in April of 2005.
Yes.
Yeah, April of 2005, and I was playing in the church band, and she was ogling me.
Oh my!
And,
Nice.
Well, we've been performing since the very beginning of our relationship. We used to perform at church, and I eventually became the music director. She became the worship leader. Then, for a time, for quite a while, she was music director at our church and had me come over and play sometimes. But in terms of the jazz part of our journey, she sang Love Song on my first album, did a great job. And so we figured at the album release, well, we should have her come up and sing it, you know. So she did the one song and that was it. And when she left, I was like, wow, that was really nice. I wish there would have been more songs. And so it really, like in terms of her touring with me, it was just super organic. Like it really was literally just that one song and just kind of, oh, that'll be a nice moment. And then it's turned into now she's such a big part of the show and does all of the shows. And so it's so much fun. And then now she's doing her own show. So she's kicking me to the curb, putting me in the back now. I got to stand behind her.
I told him that story.
Yeah.
And but no, it's been so much fun to travel the world with each other. And don't let me digress. Feel free to jump in. It's supposed to be a dual interview, so
Yeah.
I'm already expounding too much.
No, that's exactly right, because we spent so many years apart in the aspect of him touring with other people. You know, he toured the Manhattan Transfer, Natalie Cole, Backstreet Boys, Jennifer Lopez. So a lot of the times we were always apart and just home together very fairly. So being able to travel and work together now and be able to have that time, it's just really nice to work with your partner and spend time. And then, of course, whenever we're home, we delve all of our time into our son, and he'll come on the road with us every now and then. You know, with basketball now and with his school schedule, all of our schedules are just crazy. So
Is there a calendar in the house with the schedules on it so everybody can know what everybody else is doing?
there is. It's usually on the refrigerator, and I like to do it by hand. Sometimes I'll draw it out by hand, or sometimes I'll just tear a piece out of like a large calendar. But there isn't one now because it's summertime. But during school with Adam Jr. and like his practices, things that we have going on, I really like to keep it there for him so he knows like where we are at certain times. And then my mother, she actually lives with us, and so it's such a blessing when we're out on the road. His schedule is unbroken, his routine is unchanged, and that really helps her too. Like, okay, what do we have today? Tomorrow I have to do this. And so yeah, there is a calendar. There's several calendars, computers, iPads, phones, handwritten ones, post-it notes.
Kind of back to the music thing. What did, I'll say it this way, what did one get from the other? You know, as you begin and you start this process, Adam, what did you get from Kat? And Kat, what did you get from Adam in the beginning? Because I'm sure now your regime is set. But in the
Mm.
beginning, I'm sure there's a lot of give and take. How did you manage that?
Well, yeah, as I mentioned, she just did the one song in that very first show. And like I said, it was like what it gave to the show was another dimension. Instead of the entire, a lot of the shows are 90 minutes, 75. Instead of it just being guitar wall to wall, what I noticed is that it gave a nice breath of fresh air, a little break from the guitar. So now the routine is she comes on and does usually 2 songs. And what's nice about that is she has a segment in the set. Then we go back to the guitar. It's like, oh, remember me? I'm still here. So it really and what I like about it too is right when on a longer show, I'll do maybe 5 songs up front. So right when maybe the audience is starting to settle in, okay, I see what this is going to be. Bam, she comes out now. We do vocal tunes. So that's what's been really fun is it really is a 1-2 punch and we just keep it coming, in terms of the audience, in terms of different looks, different things for them to focus on and whatnot. And it's fun. Makes it fun for me, makes it fun for the audience.
Yeah. And I think the give and take, like in the beginning, like you were saying, it kind of was a foreign thing because not a lot of acts had the vocal aspect, in their show with the instrumental. So I had to really figure out how I could add to that and really kind of create like that segment in the show and not let it bomb, And it would always be so much pressure for me because I'm like, I don't want to be the reason why my husband's show is, ridiculous.
Wow.
And so a lot of it, the give and take, was just really trying to figure out like the vibe that we wanted to set, what type of show that we wanted to have. And then Adam incorporated an old school medley in his show. So like the first 2 songs in the show, they're usually like a ballad or something super smooth. And then we get into like the party segment where it's usually like a dance or a stepping tune. And then you get into all the old school, like Earth, Wind and Fire and Stevie Wonder. And so you really kind of just have to gauge, what people want. And it's definitely demographic too, because certain songs go well in, the South that don't really resonate, in the Midwest. And so you have to like pay attention to your set list and what you're going to do with that.
Yeah, we definitely cultivated it a lot. There were some songs that were like really big here in LA, before I started really touring a lot around the country. And I was like, oh, this will be great. And we go somewhere else and they would just stare at us, So you start to figure out over time what works, what doesn't, what works outside, what works in a festival, what works, indoor. Indoor, if you have a strong show, you can pretty much get away with anything. You can do more ballads, you can do more kind of creative or, organic type of moments. Whereas outside, you really got to hold people, because it's chaotic. They're looking for their seat. They're drinking. There's just a lot going on. They're dealing with the elements. Either it's raining or it's really hot, or So
yeah.
So that's always a fun challenge too. So yeah, you just kind of tailor depending on the event.
So if you play someplace once, if you play outdoors once, and the song doesn't do well, how do you know to take it out or change it when you go to your next outdoor event? I mean, I've always wondered, you have a huge catalog, ton of songs. How do you pick the songs you're going to play for an indoor concert or an outdoor concert? I've always wondered as I sit there going, oh, he didn't play this, he didn't play this, but he did play this. How do you choose those 10, 12, 15 songs?
It's very hard.
Well, it's fun right now. And then we're on opposite sides of it. She's where I was 10 years ago, where you play every song that you have because you have one out plus, some covers. And so that's been fun because it's like, oh, we worked on all this music. Now we get to play it live. Mm-hmm. And then for me now, I can't play everything. It's not possible.
Right.
I recently redid my show in 2024, and I would say about 60% of it is new or it's music I haven't played in a really long time. So that was really fun to just really flip things around, and we're doing a lot of new material. But it was, it's a little bit frightening because the old stuff works, and especially for the top, to change the top of the show where you have something grabs people and just launches things off. That was a bit daunting, but I'm glad I did it. It's been working great. People have been really digging the new music, and so I think the first like 30 minutes of the show is brand new. And then I throw in a couple songs from my earlier albums that I haven't played in a long time. And, but yeah, to answer your question, I mean, it's a little bit trial and error, but I, at the risk of patting myself on the back, this was easier this time around putting together the new, first 30 minutes than it was earlier. Earlier in my career, there's things I thought would work and didn't, and I'd have to retool them or cut them. I am really proud to say that this time around, pretty much, all the new stuff has been working really well. But the reason behind that is I'm not just playing them just like the record. I also thought about, okay, how can I make this a live arrangement? And I did a lot of effort to do that, because there's different things that work live. Some things it's better to shorten them. So anyways, whereas another one of my tunes, a Latin tune, Flyby, I lengthened it. I added a drum solo and I added a whole interplay, and then that's been a big crowd pleaser. So over time, you just kind of see what works.
Yeah, and a lot of times we don't know that we are going to cut a song out because it's really just like in the moment. And you have to gauge the audience. You have to gauge the weather, what they're, and it's different because inside people are very like strong listeners. They're sitting there, they're in more of a mellow environment. With like their food, their drink, and of course the lighting and the ambiance, the aesthetic. So you can do more things that that their attention is going to be held. And then just like Adam was saying, when it's outside, there's all these different elements that kind of play into that. And you really gauge on if they're feeling it or if people are up dancing, if they're cheering. And then once you're in the show, you can be like, okay, we're not going to, you just skip over to the next song. Or you end a song early, or kind of just do something improvising within the moment. So it's really, you just kind of have to gauge in the moment to know.
Is there ever an opportunity? This is me like being on stage, like hiding behind the scenes. Is there ever an opportunity where you go, we're just going to cut the next song because I don't want to do it, or it won't fit, or I want to add this song. I don't know if we rehearsed it, but I hope you all know the music, and you add it. What? I think what you do, especially on stage, is spontaneity. But on one side, I think it's easy to take out, and then with that being said, is there a song that you can add, or if you go, I want to do this song because I think it'll be good for now.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's actually maybe, at least for us, it's less inspirational and more so logistical, because what happens is everything is always running behind, but then there's a curfew. I mean, that's what happens more often than not, is that we have especially when you're closing, there's a curfew, but then all the acts before you played too long, so now instead of 90, now you're playing 60. So and then my thing for me is there's the last, especially 15, 16 minutes of my show, I want to do intact without having to jump ahead so I'm always asking before we go on stage, I'm fine, who's in charge? How long are we playing? Are we playing the amount contracted, like 90 minutes, or do we need to stop at a certain time? So maybe it's not the most inspirational answer to your question, but that's really the reality. And then the stuff in the middle is kind of stuff that we still really value, but also we know, okay, if we have to jump over it, we can, because obviously you save the best for last. You want your show to have its finale. So that's the big thing.
Yeah. And there's been times where we would skip a song, but by accident, and you're like, okay, are we going to do it after this one or not? Because everything is planned according to...
She's mostly talking about me, not either misreading the set list or thinking we're on a different show.
Yes.
Because I'll get lulled into like, oh yeah, I know what's coming. And then, but then today the set list is different for whatever reason, different length of time or whatever, or I have a guest coming or, so that happened in, what got me was we were in Detroit and I announced her, but I was supposed to play one more song. But that was a slightly different set because we did two sets. We did like 50 minutes, took a break, then did 50 minutes. So things were kind of jumbled around different than they usually are when we play. The most common thing is that we do 90, 75 or 90.
Right.
So yeah, I wasn't looking at the set list and I was just sure, her song is next. And I announced her and then she was probably still doing makeup or something. And
it was like an RV parked behind the stage. And I was like, oh shoot. I knew he skipped a song, but I was like, well, he announced me. So I'm like running out of the RV, trying to zip up my shoe, and run up the stairs. And he's like, oh, wait, I skipped a song. Sorry, honey. And so I go back down. But there have been times where in the moment, like if I can't do something vocally, whether like I'm sick or I'm having issues with my asthma, I will just tell him like, we can't do this song right now. And
then we'll do it anyway. Because pretty much every single show before the show, she's like, I can't go on. I can't sing. It's either a wardrobe or a vocal issue. And then she comes out and she's incredible every time. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Well, there is the panic that sets in.
I really can't listen to her. At least in those matters.
So when does the TV show starring the two of you come out? Because I think it would be pretty good.
That's so funny.
Let's do this real quick. Let's play. I have a choice. Let's play Keep On Keeping On, because obviously that's what you do when you're doing a live set. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Keep On Keeping On with Adam and Kat Hawley on the Jazz Flyte Podcast.
Baby, all we gotta do is keep on keeping on till the break of dawn. You can keep it strong. You can keep it strong. Keep on keeping on till the break of dawn. Till the break of dawn. You can keep it strong. My heart is for you. This I'm saying is true.
Keep On Keeping On the Jazz Flyte Podcast by our guest today, husband and wife, Kat and Adam Hawley. You mentioned during COVID that you were kind of locked in one space, but you created a bunch of things, bunch of videos and things like that. What do you miss those things? You mentioned that you've got fans that do things. Is that an important part of your musical careers and concepts to get to know? I mean, I was fortunate. I was in radio, so I got to know people. But the average fan is envious of me because I can reach out and touch what will now include the two of you and everybody else that I've met. It is, some people are standoffish about that. They don't want to meet people. But
Some
you
people
two seem to
are.
be total opposite of. I'm sure, I'm going out on a limb here, that if I said I was coming out there in 3 days, you'd go, okay, well, you're staying here, or at least come by for dinner, come by for coffee, or something like that, and we'd have a conversation. You seem to be an open kind of couple.
Yeah, well, and that's one thing that we've always really enjoyed about this genre. It's because it's not like this in every genre, but
Right.
contemporary jazz is very much a family. People are,
Right.
we're rooting for each other. We're, it's and then same thing with, I feel so fortunate to be able to tour the world, and Kat as well, with our own original music. People know the song, they ask for the song. Why didn't you play this song? So no, it's the least we can do to reciprocate and hang. And yeah, we're always meeting up with people. The cruises are so fun for that too. We'll meet up with, hey, let's grab a drink on deck 7, or let's go have a meal. So no, it's very much a communal atmosphere in this genre, and it's a blast. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah, definitely. It is very important because I spent a lot of time in like the service company industry. So I'm still a licensed cosmetologist. I went to cosmetology school at a high school before I went to college, and I've worked in hair salons, I used to work at Disneyland, creating the wigs and the makeup for all the characters. And I worked for a large makeup company for a long time. And in that training, you know, you really do have to have either the servant's mindset or a servant's heart, because you're creating an experience for someone else. And I feel like that really kind of embodied my outlook for how I deal with fans now, because it is a business, you know, and you are creating a certain type of service for them. And even when people come to the merch table and we just make it very free for them, like, don't feel pressured like you have to buy our music. I would love for you to buy our music. But just come say hi, you know, and people come and say hi and we just talk and they want to take a picture and they love it. And we do hear that a lot. People say, you guys are so gracious with your time and you're so personable, but it's like just kind of natural. You know, we don't even really have to force it. I like talking to people. I feel like if you took time out of your schedule to get dressed up, drive, park, you know, eat dinner to come and see us, I'm going to look and do my best and then, you know, have a conversation with you. And I feel like that really is like missed in this genre. That's why I love still dressing. Like when I'm on stage, like I'm dressed, you know, I love still dressing, because where I come from theater, it's kind of like, you know, the theater is like our gift. And I really embody that like on stage. Like I want to look and feel my best. And I want to have you feel that same, you know, sentiment. So we just love it. And we just love meeting people from all over the world. And a lot of times we're connected to people, you know, that we've never met before, but we know all the same people, or we have gone to the same restaurant somewhere, you know, and it's fun. And people are just so sweet. Like it's just a huge family.
The one thing that I have found, and I will relate two stories. So I'm working. This is not early in my radio days when I was doing this jazz radio show. And now I think there's a third story. I'm interviewing Grover Washington Jr. on the phone, and this was the same day that Nelson Mandela had been released. And I want to ask questions. You know, that's what I do. So I go, Grover, I'm not sure how you're going to feel about this, but I said, Nelson Mandela's been released. Do you have any feelings on that? And there's this dead silence. And I'm like, let me just put the gun to my head right now. Because I felt I'd just done something wrong. And he's like, Darrell, no one has asked me that. I greatly appreciate that. And he went on for like 10 minutes. And from that moment on, the second Grover story, I'm coming home from work, driving home, and for some reason, no, he called us a house. My wife picks up the phone and goes, some guy on the phone says he's Grover Washington Jr. and he wants to talk to you. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Pick up the phone. Who is this? Darrell, it's Grover. I'm in town early, day early. You want to go out and have something to eat?
Yeah.
And I won't say the expletive, but you can kind of guess what I said. Are you serious? He goes, yes. So you get into, okay, you got to prove it. He goes, just meet me here. I'm like, okay, fine. I went and we sat and nobody bothered us and we talked. I have a David Sanborn story. So there was a time when David was here like every 8 months. And he calls and he says, coming to the show? And I go, don't get me wrong. Is it the same show as last year and the one before that? And he said, as a matter of fact, it is. I go, then I'm not coming. I don't, I've heard you enough that I can almost do the set list. And he goes,
that's so
all
funny.
right, fine, let's have lunch.
Right.
Again, and David was a guy who I could care less that you listen to my music. You're a friend. And we just talk for hours. And I'm like, okay, fine. I find that interesting in this jazz world, in this contemporary jazz world, smooth jazz world, that all of you all, I have not met an ungrateful jazz musician. I haven't. And they're friendly. What's your number? Let's stay in touch.
Right.
I sent out something. I did all these interviews. I sent out a Mother's Day wish to every woman that I had interviewed. Every one of them responded back. And I'm like, I'm just doing it just to kind of be nice. I'm not trying to get influence or anything. But I think because it's almost like the nature of the music, it's just a feeling. I'm going to shut up now. I want to play music. Let's play Hello from Adam Hawley and Kat Hawley on the Jazz Flyte Podcast.
Hello, it's me. I was wondering after all these years, would you like to me to go over everything? They say the time's supposed to heal, yeah, but I ain't done achieving. Hello, can you hear me?
That is Hello by Kat Hawley and Adam Hawley. On a side note, in the conversations that we've had, your son's 15. He plays
Mhm.
basketball. He must be pretty good if he's traveling.
Yeah, no, he stays really busy. He's on the high school team, then he's on the AAU team, then he does training. He has two cousins that are elite trainers. They work on movie sets. They work with the biggest upcoming athletes. So yeah, he's very serious about it, and we're so proud of him because it was a new thing that he picked up. He was doing Taekwondo until like
Wow.
4 years ago or something. He got to a black belt, and then he decided, no, I want to do basketball. So literally from nothing to now where he is so astounding. And right
Right.
now he's doing 2-a-day workouts. His high school's having skills camp, and then he's going out doing his own workouts at night. And we just got back from Vegas. He had a big tournament there, so it's a lot of fun. It's our entertainment, going hanging out at his games. It's such a blast.
All right, so I'll ask this question, and I need an answer from both of you.
Okay.
Two questions. Who's the bigger fan? And if I come to a game and sit, who will I hear?
Well, Adam is definitely the bigger basketball fan.
But she's the bigger
you
screamer.
will hear me at a game. In particular at my son's games, you will hear me. I've been trying to do better, but don't look at me.
A little bit. He's doing
I've been
slightly.
trying to do better.
1% better.
It gets hard because like the other parents start talking, and it's like you got to match their energy. So it's like.
Adam, do you sometimes turn and give her the look like, I really wish you'd be quiet?
No, but I just relocate because
Oh,
I have to save my ears. These ears are, very important. So, but
Yeah, he'll get up and he'll move to a different seating position. And he'll say, I can't sit right here. I can't sit next to you right now.
how tall is your son?
He's 5'7".
Okay.
I'm hoping for another 5 inches because I'm not very tall. So he's a guard, and I'm just like, oh, please let him grow. Please let him grow more.
And he's Adam Jr. So if I can Google him and follow him, because I'm not gonna lie, I watched the NBA draft this year and didn't know one of them.
Right.
Didn't know any of the people they drafted.
The NBA draft this year wasn't great. Adam Jr. said that.
So, but at least it gives me, because I look now and I go, in a minute, I'm not gonna know anybody in the NBA, and I'm 5'9", listed as 5'11" in the program. Adam, you'll understand why the height difference. But I was a guard, and I'm a point guard. I have, and I tell the story honestly, and I've got witnesses. I was Magic before Magic Johnson. I threw a pass and broke a guy's nose, because he wasn't looking, but he was wide open. And it's one of those things. You throw it and you let it go, and you're like, I want that back. Square in the face, and whatever. So what do the two of you, before we do this, I was talking to Kat earlier. I don't know if there's ever been an opportunity for a husband and wife team to have the number 1 and 2 song on any music chart. I think with Unstoppable and Rather Be, it's a strong shot to do that. I really do. Do you ever think about that? Do you think about both of you being on the charts at the same time? Do you think, well, when I produce this song, this is a definite hit. We're gonna do this, or
Well,
or
our songs are I guess we'll have to coincide our releases a little bit closer because right now we're releasing on the opposite side of the calendar. So my
Yeah.
song has been out since February, so it's actually on the way down.
okay,
It peaked at 3, which was awesome, but now it's on the way down. Whereas hers just came out.
right.
So yeah, I'll have to reorganize the calendar to accomplish something like that. But no, I mean it's amazing to have both of our music out at the same time and have distinguished people like yourself have us both on,
Mhm.
and it's a blast, and like I said, people have been. That's the nice thing is it's been the easiest promotion for her because people have been asking for her record ever since I started touring and she
Mhm.
started singing with me. They said, "What about you? Where's your record?" So she's selling a lot of units at the live shows, and she's selling them on Amazon, and she's getting airplay. So I couldn't be happier. That's the idea.
Right.
And
I'm. Go ahead.
sometimes when I did have my debut single come out and it charted on Smooth Jazz Network, smoothjazz.com, I would always be like really low on the chart and Adam would be way up here. So I could never take a screenshot that like would fit.
Right.
And finally, when I moved all the way up to number 38, and Adam was over here, I don't know, you're like 4, 3, 2, something like that, where you're always at. And so it was kind of like side and side. So I was able to get that screenshot. And I just was like, look at both of our names, on the chart. So that was really cool. But I would love to see both of our names on like a Billboard chart. That would be
Yeah, that's the next
that would
goal.
be great.
Yeah.
Do the two of you compete?
No. Do you compete? Look at you. Why are you laughing?
Every,
Sorry, didn't mean
everything
that.
is competition.
Well, when we were, editing my album, and he would say, dang, I'm adding all this stuff in your songs. Like, I need to do some of this in mine. Just different things like strings and things that sound like really expensive, like in a song. And he's like, I need to try some of this on my stuff.
No, but the goal, every project that I produce, you want it to be great, and hers was no different. And I had a lot of fun making it, and just the nature of vocals, working with any vocalist, it's more time consuming than instrumentalists. So yeah, we put our heart and soul into it, and really, really proud of the record. The record turned out really great, and yeah, I mean, I that's all we want is for all of these records to do great. So that's the goal.
Yeah.
All right. I congratulate you both. I think you both have wonderful projects going on. I tell us your social media sites, whatever, so we can follow you and keep up with you and download and stream more of your music.
Yeah, well, I think the easiest is just to go to my website, which is cathawley.com. Hawley is spelled Hawley. And from there, you can go to all my socials. You can go to Apple Music, Spotify, any other downloading and streaming services. You'll be able to see a store where you can purchase items. You can even go and subscribe to my email list. You can put your email in there and get emails from us. But if you're only on Instagram, my handle is Cat Hawley Music. Facebook, it's Cat Hawley Artist page. And you'll find everything. I put pictures and videos up of us getting ready, us at sound check when we're on the road at shows, traveling to the airport, stuff with my son and his basketball. So you get a little bit of everything.
Okay. Adam,
Yeah, and I have this change. I couldn't have said it better. Same for me. Go to my website, adamhawley.com. And I think my handles are similar too. Facebook is Adam Hawley Artist page. Instagram is Adam Hawley Music.
Mm-hmm.
And and definitely check out the tour dates because we love coming up to the Midwest. So any of you listening from the Midwest, we're up there usually once or twice a year. But anywhere that you're listening, we're touring worldwide. So check out those tour dates. Hope to see you at a live show.
We will do that, sir. It's a pleasure to talk to both of you. Good luck in your endeavors, and I'm gonna keep a track on these 2 singles and see if I can get them to be number 1 and number 2.
All right, I like it.
Do what I can. Once again, thank you very much, Adam and Cat Hawley. It's been a pleasure. Like I said, I wish you all the best and keep the music coming.
Thank
Ladies,
you. Thanks
Ladies
so
and
much.
gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Jazz Flyte Podcast. I'm Darrell Scott. We will talk to you next week. Thank you for tuning in to the Jazz Flyte Podcast. I hope you enjoy the stories and soulful melodies that grew through the doors of time. If you want to stay connected with the latest updates and episodes, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. Until next time, I'm Darrell Scott.